it's Antia Boyd
and Boyd.
And we're the creators of the Magnetize The Man Summit. So really excited for you to jump right into the next interview because we have created this for you to stop attracting emotionally unavailable men, overcome your trust issue, and so much more, so you attract that right man for you that makes you feel seen, cherished, and supported.
Can't wait to see you inside the interview and get you on the path to magnetizing your man once and for all. See you there. Look forward to it.
Mwah! Hello, it's Antia Boyd, your fierce leader of the Magnetize the Man Summit, where single, successful women crack the attraction code and live their happily ever after. And I'm telling you, what would be happily after without the right dress? Okay, you remember Cinderella? She got the right dress. So I got the very special expert here today, which is Nathalie Chapron, who's going to teach us how to dress that you feel sexy and confident on any date, ladies. I'm so excited. Welcome, Nathalie.
Thank you, Antia. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here sharing about this with you. Thank you.
Well, here's the reason why I'm really excited about this, lady. Not only is Nathalie among an elite group of image consultants trained in the Suzanne Cagle method of color and style analysis, there's only like a handful of people on the entire planet. There's a waiting list for her private sessions where she works from tens of thousands of colors, over 30,000 colors to be exact, but she's not going to use all 30 on you, 30,000, don't worry. But you see it here in the background, right? But also she's done my husband and my look as well, right? So, you know, it's been just really absolutely amazing, the transformation I have experienced, the confidence I feel, like what I can wear when I speak somewhere, when I go somewhere, knowing what jewelry to wear. I don't imagine, ladies, you don't have to think about how somebody perceives you anymore. Like you just can be completely present with the other person because you're not wondering, is this too much? Is this the right red? You know, is this even in my palette at all? Right? Like all of those concerns and worries will be taken away from you. And not only that, but you're also going to have a man who not only likes, but also respects you. Because that's really what we're going to be breaking down today. So welcome, Nathalie.
Thank you, Auntie. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me and for putting this together. Like, this is an incredible lineup of amazing people. I know the value that's been shared already. Like, it's such high quality, and I'm just delighted to be a part of it. Thank you.
And the reason why I invited you, Nathalie, is like, of course, you know, I mean, you transformed Brody in my life, right? And not just like for outside, but it really transferred into the inside confidence as well. And makes shopping like so easy. It's easy peasy. You know, I'm just going to give every shop on my palette. They're just going to find the colors. And I'm just saying, no, it's not my palette. And I leave and it's joy and it's fun and there's no more frustration. But also because we talked about matchmaking and online dating and what to say and how long to wait and things like that. But now we're also going to talk about, you know, what to actually wear, because like, what was it within the first 5 to 10 seconds, Nathalie? We're going to go a little bit into it. People make decisions on 7 different levels when they meet you. So let's dive right in, Nathalie. And that goes a little bit along with your intro too. Tell us a little bit, why are you so passionate about what you're doing and how you're transforming women's lives, like from the outside in and from the inside out?
Oh, thank you. Yes, I'm so passionate about this because it's really, you know, we think image is superficial. You know, we can't think. It's like, oh, you know, putting attention on like what I'm wearing, the colors and the styles, like, especially for women who are a little bit more spiritual and, you know, deep and wise. And it's like, there could be a little bit of like, I don't want to talk and think about too much about what I'm wearing. Like, people should love me for me. Right. Mm-hmm. And so, and I used to think that too, right? I used to think that too, because I'm very, you know, I mean, I'm deep and I'm wise and I'm spiritual. And the thing is that I had an experience that completely changed my life. And I want to share this with you because it's really relevant. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing today. Yeah. So I was actually in a training to learn. It was actually in a business context, but it totally translates into love. And so I want to make the parallel actually. So I was in a business training and to learn how to become a speaker, right? So being a speaker means to be visible, right? And we were to be assessed on our image. And we had to stand up in front of 3 of our peers, and they had to look at us and say, well, based on how you're showing up, this is how much we think you're worth per hour. So pretty confronting, right, to say the least. But okay, I stand up and they tell me, well, based on your appearance, we think that you are worth $25 to $35 an hour. Now, at that time, I was a health coach. I was doing Ayurvedic medicine, and I was already charging $100 to $150 an hour. So when I heard that assessment, I realized in that moment that my perceived value, the way people perceived me, and what I was asking people to invest with me were so disconnected that no wonder I was struggling to build my practice at the time. Does that make sense? It was like, And then, you know, in and of itself, $25 to $35 an hour in some jobs is fantastic, right? But for me, at my level, it wasn't. So in that moment, Antia, I realized the difference between intrinsic value and perceived value. And I want to speak to this because this is really important for us as women to understand, because our intrinsic value is how much we're worth inherently just because we're alive. Like every single one of us, every single one of you is a walking, living, breathing miracle. And your life and you are priceless. There's no value we can put on who you are. You're magnificent. You're amazing, right? Priceless.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's true. It's true. I remember, you know, giving birth to my son and looking into his eyes and just like realizing the miracle that is life, right? And every single one of us is that miracle.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our intrinsic value. Nobody can take that away from us. Nothing we do, right? We're just priceless.
Yeah.
Our perceived value is how people perceive us and what they think we're worth, and what that means. Like it could translate into, you know, a financial, like in a business context, but in a romance and dating context is like, is he going to value you and respect you, or is he going to think that you're just, you know, somebody that he could just walk all over and ignore or take advantage of, right? That's your perceived value in a dating context. And so understanding that, now you realize, oh, okay, it's really important that when I meet somebody and when I go on a date with somebody, I want my perceived value to be high because I want to be respected, right? As a woman, and you deserve that. And that comes with, you know, the choices that you're making and how you're adorning yourself, like how people are going to actually treat you, because they make an assessment very quickly, first impressions, and then they make it mean so many different things about you. So my interest and why I'm doing what I do is to allow you to make the very best first impression so people, you know, respect you, but also trust you. And of course, if you're interested in them, well, you want them to be, you know, interested in you so that you're attractive, you're sexy, you're confident, and you really also feel really at home in who you are and in how you're showing up, so that your inner essence and your outer appearance are aligned. So that's what I'm doing, Antia.
And I love that we talk about that, because I always tell my women it's really about congruence, because when you're congruent, you're automatically magnetic. There's nothing else you have to do.
Correct.
Right? It's effortless.
Correct.
So what first off, I want to hear a little bit like, what mistakes do you see most specifically single women make when it comes to dressing? Like, what is it that they're, like, let's say it's not exactly their forte. What are some of the mistakes or a single woman can make?
Yes. Well, there's so many, right? So because the thing about, you know, the body, the knowledge that I have now around, how to best adorn ourselves in a way that is congruent with our essence and who we are, and the color choices we're making, the design elements we're making. This isn't something that we're taught. We're not taught this information. We're expected to know how to dress, right? We're like, well, we understand image matters. We understand it's important. But then if we want to educate ourselves, where do we go? We read magazines, or we go online, or we watch some TV shows or whatever. It's like hodgepodge, really confusing, really overwhelming. And then you're going to find something that's like contradicting something else. And you're like, where do you even go? So it's right. It's very hard to know what to do because it's very confusing out there. So I just want to say, yeah. We're not like, this whole entire system around dressing is not set up for our success as women. It's set up so that we could keep buying stuff again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
Trends, color of the year, all that stuff. It's all outside it.
Color of the season, right? Like, purple saying, I need to run out. And meanwhile, you have no purple in your freaking palette.
No. So that's the first thing. Is like, it's very hard to make the right choices when really we don't have a clear system that is actually based on us as women, when the whole system is set up as like designer, fashion, and it's like an outside in, right? We get all this input and we're trying to fit into this thing. So what I propose is the opposite. So I want to also speak about like one of the mistakes, one of the big ones that I see. I'm tuning in here, see which ones are the most important, that are going to make the biggest difference here. Is that women oftentimes will try to dress in a way to make a certain impression, to dress almost like for somebody else. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? So it's like, oh, but I want to be seductive, or I want to be sexy for him.
Right.
And then make certain choices, which may or may not be great for her, right? But it's like, I want you to dress for you, first and foremost, right? Because if you're comfortable in it, in the beautiful dress that you're choosing, and you feel confident, like you put it on and it just feels so good, and you take pleasure in putting your outfits together, right? Like, it's an experience for you, and you're giving that gift to yourself. You're going to be so radiant and so magnetic, like, is going to make a big difference. So that's the first thing, is like really dressing for you, that you come first. That's my advice, right? So the mistake is to dress for somebody else, and the thing you want to do instead is dress for you. Do you want me to do other mistakes, or is that enough, Antia?
Yeah. I really want women to see how that translates into their dating, how they try to be maybe funnier or more flirty than really their character and their personal sort of like, your essential makeup is. So maybe you are a little bit more introverted, and it's not your style to be like loud and so I love that what Nathalie said, because that's really how it reflects. You reflect that out. So if you wear like a bright pink or whatever, and it's not in your palette, you try to be something you're not, and then if people are like, I don't know, she's quiet, but she wears this really bodacious dress, so I'm really confused. And as we know, the confused mind says no, right? So let's talk about something that you always teach my women in my workshops, because Nathalie is a frequent speaker at our events, is the A3F scale. So let's talk about that, because that's actually where I'm sure a lot of women will have some aha moments and breakthroughs.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you, Antia. Yes. So it relates to the intrinsic and perceived values. It's really important. So the A3F scale is a scale that you most likely have never heard about, but you fall on it somewhere between A and F. So when I say A, it stands for approachable. And when I say approachable, I want you to think of Mrs. Santa Claus, right? So she's very sweet. She's very approachable. She's very jovial. She has rounded features. She has like red cheeks. She's just so sweet and adorable, right? So she's the extreme of approachability. And then we have the scale, and then we have F. And F stands for formal. And when I say formal, I want you to think of Cruella de Vil, which is that bad character in the 101 Dalmatian. You know that she's like, she kidnaps an orphan, and so the male equivalent would be Dracula, right? So she's like high contrast, elongated, pointy features, just like angular and just scary. And frankly, she's a bad person. She does bad things, right?
Yes.
So we don't want anything to do with her. We want to be as far away from her as possible. And so where you fall on the scale is between A and F. And there's three main criteria that determine where you fall on the scale between A and F. Number one is your color palette, your color harmony. So I always say, you know, you're given 5 personal colors at birth, and those are your skin tone, your blush tone, your eye color, your hair color, and your red, right? So skin, blush, eyes, hair, and red. And everyone has a red. It could be a burgundy, it could be a coral, it could be a, you know, signal red, it doesn't matter, but everyone has a red. So those 5 colors and how they're organized have an impact on how people perceive you, right? And then there's your design elements. What are your lines? What are your shapes? What is your level of contrast between your hair, your skin, and your eyes? Like, you know, what makes you from a design perspective? That's the second element. And then the third element is your actual essence. So that's your personality. That's how people perceive you. You know, are you extroverted and bubbly like Antia, right? Or you're like you can make friends with the wall. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like everywhere you go, you just make friends because you just love people and you love connecting, right? Or are you more introverted and a little bit more guarded, a little bit quieter, right? Which often people perceive that as snobbish or off-putting, or, you know, they think because we just are a little bit more protected, right? So what is your essence? So your color palette, your design, and then, of course, your essence. And then there's actually a fourth element, because those 3 first elements, they're like the way Mother Nature made you at birth. You don't really, I mean, yes, you can change your hair color. And yes, if you really wanted to, you could change some of your features with, you know, plastic surgery, but it's a little hard to do. And that's not what I'm advocating here, right? So you're kind of the way Mother Nature made you. And then the fourth element is how you are actually adorning yourself. What are the choices that you're making from a color perspective, from a design perspective, right? What are the accessories that you're choosing? What are the shapes? What is the types of fabric, right? So that's the fourth element. And the fourth element can either accentuate what you already are. So let's say you're already approachable, which a lot of women are, simply because, well, we're generous, we're loving, we care, we love to help others, right? We tend to just give, right? We're kind of trained like that. And so that makes us a little bit more approachable, because we're just like, yes, I'll help. Yes, I'm open. Yes. And so then if we make choices on how we're adorning ourselves that make us even more approachable, so that would be, you know, fabrics that are flowy, floral patterns, light pastel colors, ruffles, very feminine adornments, that's going to make us even more approachable, right? And the challenge with being too approachable is that people, you know, like guys might feel safe and trust us, you know, like, oh, she's so sweet, she's so nice. But the thing is, they're not going to have the respect, and they might take advantage, right? They might, it's like the doormat syndrome we were talking about, Antia.
Right.
Right? It's like, there's an element of like, you know, we're not standing in our power, we're not speaking our truth, we're not standing up for our own, right? And so that's the challenge with being too approachable. With the formal, on the other side of the spectrum, if we're formal, guys might, you know, like respect us, The thing that might happen is because there's more of a guard and more of a wall, and we're a little bit more protected, they might feel like there's no connection or there's no way in, right? So they might feel like a little bit intimidated, or like they don't know how to come talk to us, or it's there, you know, there's barriers to get to us. And so that's a little bit challenging too, because we don't want to make it so hard to connect. And so also, if we're formal, oftentimes, and this happens all the time, you know, women wear black a lot because it's slimming, it's sophisticated, it's easy to buy everywhere, it goes with everything. So when we don't know what we're doing, black is an easy answer. Well, that's the most formal color, right? So that creates a barrier too. So it's not the most engaging and friendly color. So we want to be mindful about our choices that we're making. And so what we want, really what you want, is you really want to be both approachable, so that, you know, men feel safe to come and talk to you, to approach you, right? That you're engaging and, you know, radiant and beaming and like welcoming. And also you have your boundaries, right? They respect you. They're not going to try any funny business, you know, like you have the formality to stand in your power and to command respect. And that's the queen archetype, where you're like in your power, and they'll respond to this. So you want both.
And I love that not just that the man treats you differently, but it's also what I found when I started to, I started working with Nathalie 3 years ago. It just, there's something that happens inside of you where when you wear pointy shoes, or you wear like a darker color, like a dark green versus like a pastel, when I wear that, I feel more grounded. There is like a level of respect and assertiveness versus like just not just openness and things like that. So it's really interesting, like to have even like your outfit and your wardrobe really work you. It's really magical. I mean, really it is.
It's really magical, and it's being studied. Actually, Antia, there's a subtype of psychology. It's called enclothed cognition, and it's being studied of how the effects of what we're wearing has influences our behavior, our performance. Like it is a real thing. And if you think about it, of course, like even when we're talking about color, what are we actually talking about? We're talking about light, vibration, and frequency. So it has an impact even in our own, you know, our own energy field and our own well-being. And are we in resonance with who we truly are? Or is there static in the field, and are we like, right? Is there like chaos? And you know, I want to give some tips on how to, like, what is more approachable and what is more formal, but I also want to speak to, and I'll do that next, but I want to talk about the magnetism part, the attracting part, right? Because as women, the feminine principle magnetizes, hence, you have your title, Magnetize the Man, right? It's like you want to pull him in. But oftentimes what happens, there's this seeking out. We're like out trying to get attention, trying to do this, trying to do that. And it's an outside energy where what we want is to be so grounded into who we are, so anchored here and confident to who we are, that it naturally pulls and magnetizes what we desire, not just a man, but it's in every area of our life. And I always say, well, do you know what the difference is between a regular piece of metal that's not magnetic and an actual magnet? Like, what's the difference between the two?
They have two poles.
Yes, it has to do with polarity, Antia. You're right there. So a regular piece of metal, the molecules have polarity. There's a plus and a minus on the molecules, right? In a regular piece of metal, there is no rhyme or reason. It's chaos in there. They're like pluses, minuses. It's like all over the place.
Right.
In a magnet, there's complete alignment. So all the pluses are going one way, all the minuses are going the other way, and it's just this alignment, right, that creates the pull, that creates the magnetism. And it's the same for us. When our essence and who we are and our own pigments are mirrored out into what we're actually wearing, the alignment is so powerful that we start to just magnetize what we desire to us. It's very magical.
I love that. Yeah, it's definitely very, very true, Nathalie. And so tell us more about like what a woman can do, whatever on what A3F scale she falls on, and specifically with starting. And I know you have like a really special juicy gift where you teach them obviously much more in depth. You know, you definitely want to take Nathalie up on the offer. But apart from that, you know, what are some of the first steps that a woman can take if she even can identify? I'm guessing most women can know, because you know, are you being respected and feared and people are intimidated by you? Or are you more approachable, but you're just not getting the call back? You're just not getting, you know what I mean, the nice restaurant. You're not getting the Saturday night being asked out, right? You're always getting the Wednesday night or the spontaneous, you know, Monday night, right? So once they have like kind of identified that, what is like something that a woman can do? And I'm like, based on the women that come to me, really they're more on the A scale, a couple on the F side of it too, but mostly on the A scale. So what can like A scalers start doing to get themselves with clothes or fabrics or accessories?
Yeah, great question, Antia. So that's the good news, is we can change that. We can affect how we're being perceived with what we're putting on our bodies. So that's fun, right? And it's just a context. It's like a framework that we have. So here's what I recommend. And of course, this is generic, right? This is generalized, but this is stuff that you could use right away and it can make a huge difference. So if you feel like you are approachable, and like Antia said, you know, you want to be taken a little bit more seriously, you want to be shown a little bit more respect, you want to favor dark neutral colors when you go on dates. So instead of, you know, maybe you like pinks and pastels and floral prints or things that are really, really feminine and flirtatious. Those are fun and great, and there's a time and place for those, but not at the beginning when you're establishing. It's like you're positioning yourself, right, with this person. And you want to position yourself as somebody that he needs to take seriously. So you're going to show up with a little bit more power, a little bit more formality. So dark neutral colors will do wonders for that. And what I mean by dark neutral colors, I mean, you know, so yes, I said black is the most formal of all colors, but also navy blue, forest green, charcoal gray, eggplant, right? Dark colors are more formal. Now, from a design perspective, the more flow there is in a garment, say if it's a dress and it's very soft chiffon or very flowy goddessy, right? The more flow, the more approachable. So what you want to do instead is have a little bit more structure in what you're wearing. Perhaps you're not going for a flowy dress, but you're going for maybe a sheath dress, right? That's a little bit more fitted. And the fabric itself would have a little bit more thickness and would, you know, hold itself together a little bit more, right? So you have a little more structure in the garment. And then lastly, we can talk about shoes. So you know, shoes, open ladies. Toes are very approachable, right? Shoes, ladies, I know, right? Open toes, you know, sandals are very approachable. Rounded toes are very approachable. So the most formal of the shoe shape is really the pointed toe. So that's really the pump, right? It doesn't have to be super high heel. It could even be flats. Let's say you can't do heels for whatever reason. It could even be a flat if you need it, but it is pointed. And so that means like, don't mess with me. Like I'm powerful and I know it and I'm standing in my power. And you will carry yourself differently with a pointed toe shoe and people will respond to you differently. And by the way, ladies, this applies in other areas of your life too. Like if you're having challenges at work, with people taking you seriously, try this as well. Like you'll see a difference, right? So just a little bonus tip here. So
that's perfect.
So that's for
And then
we all have and for the formals, we're gonna do the opposite. So if you're already formal and people are like intimidated by you, avoid black, please. That's just tricky. Black is just, not your best color. So favor pastels, favor light colors. A good color is perhaps your blush tone, or, something related to your skin tone, where it's a little bit lighter. A softer, lighter color is more approachable. And then with the type of fabric and the way the garment is constructed, you want a little bit more flow. Less stiffness, less structure. Don't go for the pencil skirt, right? That's like really, that's a little more formal, right?
Right.
Even though they're sexy, really sexy. And then with the shoes, obviously you want to avoid the pointy pumps. You want to do a rounded toe, or maybe even a sandal, where you're showing your beautiful toes. So those are some things you can do right away.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for all this wisdom, Nathalie. And we could, of course, sit here forever and talk about anything and everything, but there's just so much, such a limited amount of time. But ladies, we do have good news. Nathalie has like a special training put together for you that you can get by clicking the link below, where she teaches you much more specifically on how to dress for the first and second date, because those are the more vulnerable dates. This is more where the man really makes like a much deeper, decision about who you are. So anything else you want to add to that gift that you're giving the ladies, Nathalie?
Well, yeah, people ask me all the time, what should I wear on a first date or a second date? And so I said, I always say, well, it depends, right? It depends on you. So I have a training put together. It's a little video training like this one. And it's really and I go in depth into, we talk about colors, we talk about design, and it's very, very juicy. So that'll enlighten you and really help you to make decisions on how to put yourself together for your first and second dates. It's
awesome. It's definitely hot, ladies. Like I'm always learning from Nathalie. It's like there's so much to learn. It's a wealth of information. I mean, it's like things you've never even knew that you had to think about, because you don't know what you don't know, which is a great thing. It means you can do so much, right? Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here and sharing all your amazing, wisdom, Nathalie. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Antia. Thank you. And thank you everyone for your kind attention and listening to these tips. It's my pleasure and honor to be here. Thank you.
All right. And for the ladies, I'll see you at the next interview. Take care. Was that absolutely delicious? We just love how every single expert has those juicy pieces of wisdom for you to enjoy. Look, if you want to own the entire Magnetize the Man series, we invite you to get our Magnetize the Man VIP All Access package. Not only will you own the entire video series, but also you will get our Magnetize the Man Masterclass that teaches you the 3-step formula, step by step, on how to attract the right man for you. You also get some other juicy secret trainings and a one-on-one call with me where we personalize your individual journey to attract that right man for you as soon as possible. So look, to get that, click the link below that says get access now, and you get it all. Own the entire series, including all the juicy bonuses, well worth over $1,400 for nearly the fraction of the cost. All right, we will see you in the next interview.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Mwah.
Mwah.